Anyway, let's move to America, because America's also looking pretty bad. So, just to do some house cleaning first and foremost, I don't know if you guys noticed, but during his speech in Davos, Trump basically appointed himself lifetime leader of the world. Technically chairman of the Board of Peace with a term that never expires. Obviously, none of this is real, but Article 3.2 Chairman Donald J. Trump shall serve as the inaugural chairman of the Board in Peace, and he shall separately serve as the inaugural representative of the United States of America, subject only to the provisions of Chapter 3. The chairman shall have exclusive authority to create, modify, and dissolve subsidiary entities or as necessary or appropriate to fulfill Board of Peace missions. Succession and replacement. The chairman shall at all times designate a successor for the role of chairman. Replacement of the chairman may occur only following voluntary resignation or as a result of incapacity, as determined by unanimous vote of the executive board. He's literally king. He literally thinks he's king of the world. Yeah. To be fair, I mean, like, nobody joined this except for, like, I don't know, Homelander, Voldemort, Thanos, the Covenant. Basically, like, that's the fucking group for peace. The man is not long for this world. He has lost it. Look at his fucking face. He's starting to look like something RFK Jr. would eat, which is, scary to think about. Now, again, we know that he's not long for this world. I personally hope that he continues living because, it will get worse when he is gone. And he personally just says dumb shit that doesn't matter. The entire thing at Davos pissed me off, because obviously, yes, we backed down after Europe threatened to fuck our economy up. I wish they had continued to do that. They just said, okay, after we canceled the tariffs, they should have kept the U.S. trade deals frozen. It needs to hurt when you touch the stove, or you do not learn from it. I want him to live for the entirety of this term. Yeah, me too. I do not want that. I want that man on the best healthcare possible. Keep him around, please, for the love of God. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. That's true, Left Connect. This has to all be framework for the nightmare that will come after Trump. Oh, it is, absolutely. In fact, we're going to talk about that. I have some big news about what the framework for what comes next is. You could call it Project 2027. It's kind of worse. But first, I want to show you one incredibly funny thing, because we just looked at a bunch of depressing stuff, and we all do deserve a little bit of a laugh. So here is Jesse Waters.
Notice what they never call Trump. Dumb. Because they know he's smart. And that's what scares them the most. Notice what they never call Trump. Dumb. Because they know he's smart. And that's...
Oh, I'm sorry. I know no one likes to hear Jesse Waters talk, but it was just too funny to hear that. I mean, notice how they never call him dumb. Wow. Yeah, that was one I was not expecting. I thought dumb was a given. I know, right? Now, I have a question for you guys. When a billionaire dies, who inherits their senators? Because I'm with Pam Hansen here. I think that they should be buried with them like the pharaoh. Because, like, if we're gonna go back to, like, old school feudalism and kings and lords and shit, I think when a billionaire dies, we should bury them with their senators. That's like their servant to help them pass along to the, through the afterlife, you know? Alright. One more funny thing before we get to some of the sadder stuff, but here is Donald Trump shitting himself live on Fox News, and it's great. Jesse Waters be like, hey guys, I'm not stupid, really. He said Trump wasn't stupid, Latino buffoon.
Happy Wednesday. I'm going to show you a video from Fox News of Trump shitting and pissing himself on the couch.
Why does
and
TikTok
if you look closely
do
enough,
this?
you can see it, as well as the reactions on all the faces of all the hosts when they, one, see it and realize, and two, when they smell it and realize. But before I roll the clip...
You can't really see the reactions on their faces much, but, like, you can see him shitting himself in
I'm
real
just gonna say, try to compose yourself and not crack up laughing. All right, roll it. Pay attention.
He's not qualified.
And to his face.
Qualified to be doing this. He is. I mean, you have to look at the vice president very seriously, and you compare him and J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, #1 at Yale. You know, the whole.
You can hear the fart, and then you see the little, like, drip coming out of it. I wish I could enlarge this to show you guys, but, I mean, if you want to see it, there you go. Everyone knows man shits himself regularly, but who cares? Alright, let's get to some of the bad. So first and foremost, guess who made an appearance in, Philadelphia today? The Klan just be walking around the Philly courthouses. I literally just screamed in disgust. Yeah, I don't blame you. When I see this, I keep thinking about that scene in Wolfenstein, where it's like the Nazis and the Klan, and they're standing, and the Nazis like asking the Klansmen to start speaking in German, and the Klansman, being like a Southern American, can't speak in German properly, and the Nazis just like, look at you're butchering my beautiful language, and like that's all I think about when I see these fucks. Should we call him Leaking Butt Donnie? I don't care. So, one very interesting thing. Why Minnesota is so important. I've spoken about this before. I've never seen a map like this. But, like, you need to understand that currently, in the United States, the geography that creates the best possible future for any of the states, you know, the places in the country that are going to have the best luck, the most access to resources like water going forward, is near the Great Lakes. Minnesota is incredibly important. There's a reason why the push for Minnesota from the government is so strong, and you can see that through this map, which is a simulation of what would happen if the states went to war. Now, the reason I think this is important isn't because I think the states are going to go to war. It's to show the importance of this entire region. This is currently the strongest region in America going forward. The Great Lakes are one of the only bodies of fresh water on the planet that are not decreasing every year. Like, there's still water that is being added to these water stores every year. It's one of the few.
As to why Minneapolis has become the target. This is an AI war simulation model that I saw on my TikTok page, and it is showing if all of the states went to war, that Minnesota would win. Let's not forget that the Department of Defense recently launched an AI program nationwide and encouraged all employees to use it. Picture it.
I did not need AI to know that that sim is true, because again, water is a critical resource, and anything south of like the middle of the country is becoming more and more of a desert. So like, yeah, no, the most powerful part of the country is the Great Lakes region.
Bunch of DOD guys sitting around a screen watching this simulation. We can't have Tim Walz be in charge of America. The guy who does a gay wave, which, by the way, is an inaccurate assessment. This is a very Steve Martin move. These guys just hate
I don't give a shit about that part.
Unless the guy's Trump's type. But at some point in the recent weeks, Pete Hegseth sat down with Donald Trump and let him know that the biggest threat to United States national security is Minnesota. The leader of Canada,
And there's a reason for that. Again, Minnesota, oh, she's bringing up Canada. If Minnesota defects, joins Canada, that's huge. If Minnesota continues to resist, if Oregon, Washington, California, Cascadia break off, they've already been offered to join Canada. Now, like, none of this is happening right now. All of this is slowly building. And all of this is building with the assumption that the state has full intention to use the maximum amount of force possible. However, the public is still trying to get on with like a regular life. We don't want a civil war. We don't want everyone to die. We don't want to fight. However, you're probably going to need to. And I need you to understand that, like, you don't get to choose whether this happens to you or not. That choice has been taken from you. That choice happened in 2024. That was your chance to choose.
Mark Carney is proposing partnering with China to protect Greenland. So if Canada takes Minnesota, we all get to become China.
That would be cool. Canada's not going to take Minnesota, but Minnesota could form trade deals with, let's say, Canada, which then bring in Chinese EVs. Chinese EVs being on the roads can then be used to map out the roads because all electric vehicles have cameras in them. That's why I hate all fucking EVs. Like, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of geopolitics that can lead further into it. Minnesota is important for the government, and that's why we have this lesbian leading ICE in Minnesota. By the way, like, seriously, why does he look like a lesbian? I have $20 that this lady drives a Subaru Outback. Yeah, no. This, like, as a lesbian, Bavino looks like he drives a Subaru Outback. 100%. Literally, like, might as well just be, that. Same person. I can't tell any difference. I really can't tell a difference. Alright, I suppose that's enough laughing. Let's talk about how things are going to be very, very bad going soon. No, that's Trump with Mufune. So, by the way, Atlanta, ICE is coming to you. If you are in Atlanta, be aware. Now, I've told everyone this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you are a political, like, activist, if you watch live streams, if you message, if ICE is in your town, leave your house for the day. Pack your bag, go spend some time in the woods. They don't care. They're coming for everybody. They are using, like, they're using this system called Elite, which tracks your phone and your socials and the people around you. Leave your electronics at home, put them in a Faraday bag, fuck off into the woods. If you live in Atlanta, if you live in any of the cities that ICE is in, they are coming for you specifically. If you are at risk, hide your valuables, whether you, like, put them in a storage locker, rip up a floorboard and keep them under there. They have been known to steal the valuables of individuals that they detain, whether they be jewelry, wedding rings, phones, cars, whatever the hell it is. So be aware of that and hide your shit and hide. You are in the bad timeline. You are now Anne Frank. That's Craig Bavino, 100% driving a Subaru Outback and wearing Doc Martens. I know, right? They took Hitler's name off of everything he named after himself before his body was cold. Trump can name whatever he wants, but it'll be changed before he's gone. I don't think so, because when Trump is gone, that's the beginning. It's not the end. This is what comes next. It's really, really bad. So this is what I would consider Project 2027. So remember how I've talked about how on the White House website, if you go on whitehouse.gov, hold on, let me open it for you so I can show it to you as we go. You go onto the White House website, and you go to menu, and you go to, fuck off. Where is, they changed this shit around again. America 250. There is a countdown. There has been a countdown for America 250 for a while. This is counting down to the 4th of July this year. What is being launched on the 4th of July this year? This. From the Heritage Foundation, this was published on January 8th. Now, it's an over an hour read. I'm not going to read the whole thing for you guys, but we will break this down. I'm going to link it in the chat so you guys can have a look. We'll be revolting before too long. Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I've talked about that at length. I've talked about how you can go about doing that, and we'll chat about it a little bit afterwards as well. But first, I need you to understand what this is. So from the Heritage Foundation, Saving America by Saving the Family, a foundation for the next 250 years. This is taking the rights of all women away, essentially. Pretty bad. if you hit the full report bit, you can read all of this. Instead of reading all of this, I have some notes that we can check in. I have some talking points on it and some scenarios. You should have a read on it on your own, but first I want to have a couple of these videos
on January 8th, 2026.
Do a decent job explaining it, and then we're going to take a look at my analysis, and I'm going to read you some bits that are extremely worrying.
13 days ago, the Heritage Foundation, which is responsible for Project 2025, and, by the way, hand-selecting J.D. Vance as the candidate for vice president, aligning him to be the next president. Remember, he's only a heartbeat away from that office. They published this. It is, quote-unquote, a special report, and it is called Saving America by Saving the Family, a foundation for the next 250 years. You're going to listen to this video, and then you are going to go and find this document at the bottom there where it says download report. It is over 160 pages. I'm going to give you a few of the highlights, but it would be in your best.
Guys, nobody read Project 2025 last time. People didn't believe us when we told you that was the playbook step by step by step. This is where it continues. This is book 2. This is the sequel. Please, for the love of God, read it and take it seriously. It is 100% going to impact each and every one of you. Whether you are a man, whether you are a woman, whether you are neither, whether you are both, whether you are gay, straight, trans, bi, doesn't matter. This affects you.
Best interest to spend some time with that document. I'm going to make a separate video on the idea of July 4th, 2026, because a lot of the Heritage Foundation documents reference it, as well as a lot of the
Almost every EO that was put forward at the very beginning of the admin references July 4th, 2026. America 250 is this whole plan. That's what the countdown on the White House page is for, and it's supposed to set off this entire string of celebrations and festivities and legal changes in the law, all of which, by the way, are leading up to the midterms, where a lot of women are not going to be able to vote, because part of this makes it so to vote, your passport and your birth certificate have to have the same names. So if you're married and you have your maiden name, you will not be able to vote, for example. This also is going to get rid of no-fault divorce. It's a lot. I'll start reading some points of it after we get a rundown from Total Hypocrisy.
executive orders.
Oh, don't forget the Hunger Games. Yeah, the Patriot Games too. That starts this year. Funny enough, if you've seen the Hunger Games, like the movie, the 74th Hunger Games where Katniss Everdeen is in the book and the movie, if you go back in time from where that is, the first Hunger Games would be 2026.
From Donald Trump. And so I feel bad about that date. Something is uncomfortable about that date. But what they are saying is on July 4th of this year, we will remember our founding fathers. And as a result, we must remember that they were, in fact, real fathers. They introduced the idea that the universal experience proves that children are best raised in homes with married mothers and fathers. Then they define the family as a foundation of civilization and marriage. The committed union of one man and one woman is its cornerstone. It is the seedbed.
Well, Shade Dragon, that's the point. The point of this is to make an unmarried woman have no rights and to be able to access specific, let's say, rights, institutions, abilities, things to live your life. You now will have to be married. This is theocracy. Oh, this is literally the Handmaid's Tale manifesto. Oh, gay marriage would be illegal under this. Literally, it says that marriage should only be between a man and a woman. They will repeal gay marriage for this.
It then goes on to talk about how even communist dictators,
except for Peter Thiel,
such as Stalin and Mao, could not get rid of this idea of a need for family. So they're justifying it by saying that it's okay because dictators thought it was cool too.
Under his eye.
After that brief introduction, they then start talking about policy and how the government can respond to what
they want it to be impossible to be a single parent
and a birth rate crisis in one of two ways. The first is to just accept how things are progressing and what the trajectory is. And then they recommend a second option, which in their words is to presume that if trends, policies, and influences lead to the decline of marriage and family, then trends, policy, and influences can lead to its restoration. And then they say in black and white, and then highlighted in yellow by me, no other choice than to pursue this option. They have no other choice. They suggest that the president, and by the way, Donald Trump is named in this document. You can look for that yourself. It says the president, as in Donald Trump, should issue a series of executive orders requiring every grant, contract, policy, regulation, research project, and enforcement action involving the federal government to do the following: explicitly measure how it helps or harms marriage and family, block actions that discriminate against family formation, and give preference to actions that support American families. And then
all right, let me read to you some of the actual things that this does and lay out some possible scenarios that would exist because of this. So first of all, they create the Department of Life spy network. The government will track every pregnancy and force states to report the specific reason for every miscarriage or abortion to a federal database. They will end no-fault divorce. The law would then force abuse victims to stay married unless they can prove fault in a dangerous and expensive trial. Librarians will be treated like sex offenders. Because of the Project 2025 classification of transgender like anything as pornography, this will then include calls for imprisoning anybody who produces or distributes material about trans people. The proposed uniform day of rest would force businesses to close on Sundays, imposing Christian religious rules on Jewish and Muslim Americans. This is literally Christian Sharia, by the way. Russia promised U.S. Nazis to balkanize the country so they can have ethno-states. Yeah, basically, this is part of that. I mean, there's a reason why we're allied with Russia. It's because the right wing in America believes the same things that the Russian right does. They believe in abusing women. They're just animals, really. The American Taliban, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Christian ISIS, basically. Oh, also, we're doing some actual Nazi shit here, too. The government plans to offer $2,500 in cash as a dowry to couples, but only if they get married before the age of 30. The plan also deliberately cuts single mothers out of new family tax credits, weaponizing child poverty to force people into marriage. IVF only for the right people, which the reporting suggests IVF access solely will be available to married heterosexual couples, which means no LGBT people or families will have the right to have children. They plan to use a Victorian-era law to prosecute anyone who mails abortion pills like mifepristone, effectively banning them nationwide without a vote from Congress. The report explicitly compares surrogacy to the Handmaid's Tale. I mean, like, in the document, they explicitly compare surrogacy to the Handmaid's Tale. They quoted the Handmaid's Tale in this, yet propose a system where the state strictly controls women's bodies and choices for surrogacy. When are they rolling out the motherhood medals for white women broodmares? In this, I believe so, Depraved Omnians. I'm pretty sure that's a part of this. I haven't read all 166 or 164 pages, but... Also, the plan includes firing thousands of nonpartisan government experts to replace them with political loyalists pledged to enforce these radical rules. Again, the same thing they did with 2025, but in different departments that comes into play here. So here's some horrific examples. Let's say a woman arrives in an emergency room in a swing state experiencing a natural miscarriage. Because of the new Department of Life requiring states to report the specific reason for every pregnancy lost to maintain federal funding, her doctor is forced to flag her case as suspicious, and then utilizing the Comstock Act, which is going to be revived for this, federal agencies her phone and laptop to search for evidence that she ordered any medication online, treating a medical tragedy as a potential homicide investigation and deterring doctors from providing life-saving care for fear of prosecution. This is already happening, by the way. There was a couple months ago, there was a right-wing woman I believe it was in Utah, who had a dead fetus. Like, the baby was dead and it was killing her. She was getting sepsis. And the doctors would not treat her for fear of being persecuted themselves. The part of surrogacy they have the problem with is consent, Lebensborn. I mean, yeah, that there is no consent related here anymore. Like, that doesn't matter. They've taken that away. Again, going back to, like, the librarian I mentioned earlier. iSchool librarian is arrested and charged with distributing pornography for allowing students to check out a biography of a transgender historical figure. Literally. Like a historical figure who is trans. Their biography is now pornography that will put a librarian in jail. Because transgender ideology is now classified as pornography and claims it has no First Amendment protection, and the librarian is then prosecuted under federal obscenity laws, stripped of their teaching license, and forced to register as a sex offender. There won't be another 250 years if Trump is not stopped. There's no America left, Pork Chop Express. America's dead. America died on January 21st, 2025. America got shot on January 21st, November 4th, 2016. We were holding on. In 2021, on January 6th, we were denied health care by the American medical system. And we lasted 4 years and we died. We are a dead country now. This is them building the next thing. Oh, by the way, the nationwide the nationwide day of rest, the Sunday that you're not allowed to work, the Sharia law thing that they're implementing, that means that any protest march planned for a Sunday is then denied a permit and dispersed by federal law enforcement because you are violating community tranquility and spiritual health mandates. Effectively using religious observance as a pretext to criminalize dissent on the only day that most Americans are free to protest. The U.S. became a former republic as soon as the Supreme Court ruled the president have immunity on all official acts. Exactly. The United States is run by a terrorist organization, y'all. It's Al-Qaeda. America is currently run by a terrorist organization funded by oligarchs. We are functionally Russia. Oh, by the way, for domestic abuse, for example, in this case, a victim of domestic abuse attempts to file for divorce to protect herself and her children, but her husband refuses to grant mutual consent, which is required under the new family preservation laws, and because she cannot afford the legal fees to prove fault in a lengthy trial, the court orders her to attend 18 months of Health and Human Services funded marriage restoration boot camps alongside her abuser, legally trapping her in a violent home in the name of institutional stability. So, like, you are being domestically abused, you try and file for divorce, the court says you have to spend 18 months in a boot camp where they're gonna rape you until you stop complaining, and then, like, that's what you get for that. Congress and especially the Supreme Court have failed us as an American citizen. Congress and the Supreme Court don't work for you. They just don't. The Supreme Court is wizards in robes who have no fucking accountability, who get to decide whatever the hell happens in America. Half of them are being paid by billionaires. They all need to be put in prison. There needs to be the entire system needs to be destroyed and built from the ground up. You can't reform this system. This is why I've said on many occasions, I would literally prefer this administration to continue than us elect a Democrat in 2028. Because then all of this is normalized and then we continue onwards. Everyone who's fighting goes home. Because most people hate Trump. They don't understand that Trump is nobody. He is the puppet. All of this is far above him. They're not smart enough to know that, though. We've been screaming it for over a year, Shade Dragon. It's just nobody listens and no one gets to see us. How, like, the reach of people like me are cut off entirely. And nobody sees it. And nobody wants to see it anyway, because that's the other issue. Because you watch my show, Shade Dragon. How many times am I talking about something? And then people argue with me because they personally feel uncomfortable and they don't believe that something's going to happen. And they have no justification for believing that other than they just don't feel like it's going to happen. When I've laid out like 15 points showing exactly why it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, who's doing it, that happens regularly, even when they do listen. It is an inability to feel discomfort and then hold on to that and then still, like, I don't know, do any amount of critical thinking. And all of that comes from the duality in your brain that's built through this. We're incapable of holding two things in our mind at once. This is the end, by the way. Like, this fucking document is insane. This is actually the Handmaid's Tale, like, manifesto. I am surprised to see them putting it out like this, but then again, nobody read Project 2025, so why would they care? Let's finish the video. I want to see what she has to say.
They start talking about why it is that less and less people are getting married and less people are having children. They claim that by having a man and a woman married together, it is their best route to financial success and a happy life. They also go so far as to blame welfare programs, saying that, again, it enforces the idea of single parenthood and allows single
You want to know something insane? Because Zohran Mamdani, in 7 days, gave free childcare to New York, and he's talking about how people are showing up to his, like, events talking about, oh, I think I'm gonna have a new baby. Like, if you want to increase the birth rate, hell, we've talked about this. There's a chatter who makes a very funny point of how to say this. The political ideology of maximizing cum. Create more babies, have more people fuck. There is specific things that you can do that will encourage people to fuck, to maximize the amount of cum in the system. None of this shit does it. Mamdani did it in 7 days. I have a hard time even holding one thing in my head. Part of that is social media. I mean, you're not alone in that. Like, I'm not immune to the brain rot either. Fascism is the imbecile socialism. It's true.
Parents to exist, whereas it would be more successful if they had married. So by getting rid of welfare, people will be more likely to get married, is their idea. And then they also talk about how the money for welfare programs comes from middle class families. And so they hope to get rid of welfare, encourage the poorest of the poor to marry one another for financial freedom, and then suggest that...
Well, you are now, Sylvie, but that's good. Practice. Keeping two things in your head is like everything that you do is practice. And you can do that slowly. Have a book and try reading the book, and then try, I don't know, thinking about something related to the book while you're reading the book that's not in the book at the same time. Do that for like 5 minutes. Analyze something abstract while looking at something direct.
This will also free up the middle class to then have the ability to save and build a future for their children. And of course, we have a large section, this is just a piece of it, where we have to...
Well, I mean, Shade Dragon, a lot of this is to force women to get married and to make it almost impossible to have a life that is reasonable without being married. Like, they want it so that women can't get a job. They want to take the ability to have a bank account away again. They really want to die. They are a death cult. To be very, very clear, the right wing is a death cult. The vast majority of them are a death cult. They're different death cults. 32% of America wants to end the world like biblical apocalypse. They think they're doing a spell that's going to bring Jesus back. But then there's a lot of them that are also just a death cult, that aren't that death
blame
cult.
Women and our sexual escapades and our multiple partners and how we're encouraged to do all of that crazy sex stuff because we've got birth control pills and other contraceptives. It's our fault. Women are the problem. Do you notice where I'm going here?
They do really fucking hate women. And it's really funny to me because there are people whose job it is to tell young boys how horrible women are and why they should hate women, and then also complain about why they're alone and no woman wants to be with them. Like, they do both. And it's insane to me. Just pick one. If you hate women, you hate women. Why do you also then get mad about women not wanting to fuck you? The best case scenario of this document is more marry widows a la Erica Kirk. Well, no, not really. Like, I'm not kidding. Read the document. It's basically Handmaid's Tale shit.
Boyfriend is not taking this moment of history seriously. If your husband or boyfriend is not taking this moment of history seriously, you are with someone who is not safe for you. This is not the moment to stick your head in the sand like an ostrich because things are escalating incredibly fast. Now, if you are with someone who is telling you, if you just stop being too aware of what's going on around you, everything is going to be okay, that person is not looking
already happening, Pork Chop Express. Remember there was a few months ago where there was a black woman who was dead and she was forced to be kept on life support as an incubator. The right has nothing to offer men but insult them. The right has nothing to offer anybody.
Out for you or your best interests. They are also gaslighting you. That feeling in your gut of fear, that is coming from a place within you that is trying to protect you. You need to start thinking very seriously of moves to protect yourself and your family, because he is not going to do it for you. I have always said that women are the protectors that men always claim themselves to be. This is precisely what I mean. They are entirely unprepared for this moment if they're telling you that you are overreacting. You are not overreacting. You are reacting.
None of you are overreacting. We are in hell. This is the end. This is the last real chance we have to fight this. Because as these laws get put in place, a lot of people lose morale. Poppy, get out of there. Sorry. Poppy, out. Please. Stop it. Mama has to work, Betty. You're gonna mess up my screen, okay? Mwah. Sorry about that. There are people that do not want to make decisions and need comfort and security, and authorities cause chaos and solve such. Well, here's the thing. People don't want to make decisions and they need comfort and security. They need to understand that you have to create that comfort and security. If you don't want to make decisions, then find somebody around you who will. But like at the same time, grow up. We are in a war. We are in a very, very dangerous situation, and you're going to have to make decisions. And they will impact your life and the life of the people around you.
In precisely the right way. If you are scared of what is happening, now you need to take that fear and you need to turn it into action to protect yourself and your family, because he is not going to do it for you. You know all those scenes in horror movies where like the wife is going, there is something wrong with this house, this person, this thing, this situation, and like the husband keeps telling her that she is overreacting and keeps gaslighting her and keeps telling her that like she just needs to, she's crazy, there's something wrong with her. That is who you are with. That guy is always wrong in every situation. Please start making arrangements for yourself to keep yourself safe and to keep the ones you
like, understand the situation that we are in right now. So on top of all of this, and you're right, Mixed Lich Master, we have former Navy intelligence specialists saying that podcasters are being blackmailed through web search history to push government narratives or risk major legal repercussions. Like, we are plainly, openly in fascism. We are in a civil fucking war. By the way, this is what the radio sounds like when you're in fucking rural Trump country. Just think about, like, this is what these people are living every day. This is what they hear every day.
This Christmas on Trump Country 93.7, you have a shot at $100.
But depending where you're from will impact how much you win or the tariff you'll pay.
Yeah, North Pole immigration. State your country of origin and worst Christmas gift too. Call 239-344-5093. 344-5093. Yeah, paperwork's paperwork.
Tariff Christmas only on Trump Country 93.7.
It's actually insane. Like, these people are insane.
No, it's because you're in a cult.
What if Donald Trump says, I want you to carpet bomb Oklahoma City, everyone? You think the Air Force should carry that out?
Yes.
There might be a reason. We don't know.
This is insane.
You cannot be this stupid. Jesus Christ.
Oh, my. This podcast was going well until that.
You just said it's cool. We levels Oklahoma. You're like, yeah, it. There must be a reason. Like, you literally can't be that dumb.
You know what the problem is? Mom and I don't believe he'll ever blow up Oklahoma because we're on his side and so's the whole state.
No, it's
like the level of thought in there is non-existent.
Because you're in a cult.
You guys are worried and afraid because you live in a state where it might happen.
Okay, let's theoretically say that does happen. Let's say Trump sends in the Marines to Los Angeles, California, and let's say I'm out going to see a movie on a weekend, and he says,
And you
go into
better
that
get-
shop.
This guy's gotta learn to fucking boil his shoes for leather for food. Hassan interviewed these people. It was pretty entertaining. Yes, this is a tweet from Hassan. I'm not gonna watch his interview because I genuinely, like, I hear too much of these idiots, but, like, I need you to know that they are that crazy.
You're a truck.
Quiet Piggy. He says, go.
70% believe in angels? I thought that was 52%. Holy shit, we've gotten
shopping
worse.
mall and everyone you see. And let's say I get gunned down by the Marines for just being at a mall.
Okay, number one,
All for
let's just take
Okay,
it one
Dad,
step
wait a minute,
further.
Mom, wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. Dad,
wait.
hang on, Mom. Dad, you just said you are for Donald Trump murdering me for no reason, and you would support that.
If he walks into a mall to people with military,
There has to be a reason.
there's a reason. And I'm all for it.
They don't care what the reason is. That's the thing. They don't care. Oh, by the way, if ICE isn't grabbing U.S. citizens, which we all know they are, why the fuck do we have separate holding cells for citizens and migrants?
We got to the Whipple Federal Building. I immediately saw Hispanic and East African people lined up against a wall, about to be put into holding cells. I was escorted into the building and led to a room where they put me in ankle shackles. I was then taken to a hallway with cells designated for U.S. citizens and was held there for over 8 hours. While I was there, I was never given a phone call, despite asking at least 4 times. My friend and I in adjacent cells had to beg for water and to go to the bathroom. The bathrooms were in different holding cells, often with other people in them, with only a 3-foot panel in front of the toilet to cover people's bottom halves. While being escorted to the bathroom and to questioning, I saw holding cells with over a dozen people each and a large holding cell of between 40 to 50 people. Most of
You understand that these camps are for you. Poppy! Hold on, sorry, I need to get the cat out of this room. You are very distracting today, baby. Out. I know, I'm sorry. Alright. Now, beyond just that, guess what else is happening? Minneapolis. ICE agents are now illegally detaining children at gunpoint who are U.S. citizens, taking them as they raid houses without warrants. In this video, you see a man come out of his garage with his hands up. ICE agents already surrounding the house with guns drawn. A woman inside has her hands up, terrified, begging them not to break into their home because their kids are in the house. Instead of de-escalating the situation, one terrorist with a shield and his gun pointed at the unarmed mother enters her garage and yells, "Who's in the house?" She tells him, "My 2 young kids and son." He orders her with gun pointed at her to step out and bring her kids. He then aims his gun at the back of the garage where the kids are walking, and she screams, my kids are so young." Terrorists grab her teenage son, a U.S. citizen, unarmed in shorts and sandals, put his hands behind his back while the younger children cry.
You guys, please, just don't. Please, just. Oh my God, my kids are in the house, you guys, please. My kids, my 2 kids and my son, please. And my son, please. Step out. You guys, please, you guys are scaring my kids. My kids.
Bring your kids out with you.
Okay.
Call your kids now.
I will, please. Will you hear my kids? Oh God, you guys don't do this to my kids. My kids. Come on. Oh my God, my kids. My kids are so young. Oh my God. You guys, my kids.
Go to the left, go to your mom.
Come on. Oh my God, you guys are.
How many of these guys are also IDF? It doesn't matter because they're all trained in Tel Aviv, Shade Dragon. ICE has a field office in Tel Aviv, which is where they're trained. So does the NYPD, by the way. And most U.S. Police officers, like the higher ranks, receive training in Israel. That's a standard that's been the case for a long time.
Oh my God. You guys.
These, by the way, are the Proud Boys, the Patriot Front, Oath Keepers. Like, these are the right-wing terrorists. See, this is why I say ICE is not the Gestapo. ICE is the brown shirts. See, eventually, these terrorists are going to get thrown under the bus when the right has its own Night of the Long Knives. They've given this terrorist group funding that is equivalent to like one of the strongest military forces on the planet, and immunity to do whatever the hell they want. These are violent terrorists. They are going to get a bit more of an ego, and eventually they're going to want a secret police. And this is what happened with the Nazis. This was the SA at the time, and they were replaced by the SS after all of these guys were put to death by the Nazis when they used their when their use was finished. Their utility no longer mattered, like a shitty combo pack. Yeah.
Oh my God! Why? My son is a citizen. We're citizens. My son is a citizen. We have paperwork. We have all the paperwork.
Doesn't matter. They don't care if you're a citizen. Photographed this boy walking home alone with a snack, randomly approached by DHS after he was unable to produce documentation providing his citizenship. Terrorists informed him that he was under arrest. He said, "Can I just go home?" Answer, no. Kid just walking home. What about this one? Scenes from occupied Minneapolis. 3 SUV ICE terrorists driving down 21st and 42nd Streets. The ICE terrorist rolled down his window and took a photo of me and said, "I got you, motherfucker. I'm just a homeowner going outside to see what was going on." So, like, they're just taking pictures of you to put into the database to fuck with you later. I saw similar footage when the brown shirts were operating in Germany. Yeah, it's the same thing. They're the brown shirts. They're not the Gestapo. That comes next. But, like, they're like, yeah. They act like slave catchers also. By the way, ICE terrorists are hitting unaccompanied minors with their vehicles, detaining them and disappearing them even after being shown US passports. Look at that military-age male, right? Yeah, basically. So, yesterday, terrorists rear-ended a car being driven by a 16-year-old with her 15-year-old brother in the passenger seat. Instead of calling a guardian, the terrorists photographed the 15-year-old and then took him. The 16-year-old showed the terrorists her passport, but that did not matter. They still handcuffed her and threw her into the unmarked car. Both minors, both unaccompanied, detaining children, ignoring proof of citizenship, and hauling minors away after rear-ending them. By the way, this is the government that is run by the known pedophile sex trafficker, the child rapist sex trafficker, and they are just kidnapping children.
Don't touch me. You have no right to touch me. You're not touching me. This is a lie.
Guys, like, you're running out of time. By the way, the claim that, like, they were rammed by the driver. ICE keeps doing this. These terrorists say that you hit them with your car. This is what they do. Here's how ICE drives their fucking cars.
¿Cómo no nos están siguiendo, pues? Nos están siguiendo, pues.
ICE rams this car 4 fucking times. Repeat that, blackmailed influencers? Oh, you're a bit far back, aren't you? Yeah, I will link that in a second, too.
Nos están siguiendo. No quiero
We didn't know what was happening. They were still chasing us, and that's when they started hitting our car, trying to flip it.
As Arnoldo continues to film, agents appear to ram into the Bazan's car at least 4 times.
So they ram your car, and then they arrest you for ramming their car. That's what they keep doing. That's what they keep doing. Hell, that's what the argument was for shooting Renee Good, was that she was trying to ram them with her car. She was not. Oh, by the way, ICE is now operating on public school property. They're on fucking public schools. I heard that they carry a thing of fake evidence to plant on sites. I would believe that entirely. In fact, Sylvie, I would need evidence of that not being true to not believe that. So They're operating on public schools. They're technically not even supposed to do this. Instead, ICE is now testing boundaries on school grounds, while the Trump administration has deliberately removed long-standing protections for schools and churches, making it easier to target children and especially unaccompanied minors. So shockingly, the pedophile sex trafficker government is making it easier for their terrorist jackboot thugs to go and kidnap unaccompanied minors and children and then traffic them.
What the?
Oh yeah, without warrants. Speaking of without warrants, leaked memo shows ICE terrorists have been authorized by the Trump administration to illegally force entry into homes throughout America without a judicial warrant. Not only is this illegal, but it's also a violation of the Constitution. There is no law. There is no law. So, yeah, they can just break into your fucking house now. Have fun with that. There's no stopping it. Hold on. Let's see if I have my, my favorite video. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if I can find my favorite video. Come on, be the first one up. No. Ah, whatever. There's no fucking law in this country. There's only law against you. The law is a threat of violence deployed by the ruling class against you. If you're a lib or you know some lib, you need to tell them that there is no law. Vizor is completely right about that point. I have interviewed a JD in constitutional law on my YouTube page. Go and watch that. Like a constitutional scholar who's been in the field for 20 years, worked specifically in civil rights, worked specifically with ICE detainees. Whole interview with them. There is no law. Nothing will protect you. They can come into your house, shoot you, and kill you with no consequences. Zero. Here's them kidnapping a 5-year-old. This is Liam Conejo Ramos. This is the 5-year-old child ICE terrorists grabbed in Minnesota today. They used him as bait to get his father. They sent this toddler to detention instead of letting him stay with his family. A masked man grabbed the toddler off the street in broad daylight and then used them to bait the family. By the way, if they do arrest you and you do get out, reports from medical workers warn that federal agents may be releasing injured detainees in remote areas without medical care. A death sentence in the freezing temperatures. It is fucking cold, there's ice storms all over the country, and if they're now planning to specifically release some detainees in remote areas, especially injured ones, those people are gonna die.
From medical professionals, that so you know how safe harbor or safe haven is here to get people who are being picked up like that person?
Yes.
So the people that are injured really badly, or maybe other people too, we don't know how many people, are being taken out into the woods around the Whipple and released in the middle of the night, sometimes with no clothes, always with no phone, if they're brown, with no ID. And it's a death sentence. One of the people had a cracked skull that's been treated. So they're taking the people that they don't want us to know about and they're dropping them in the woods, which I've heard is something that they've been doing with Native Americans for a long time, and we're just continuing.
It is murderous. It is literally murder. There was a case in which ICE was claiming a detainee committed suicide in their El Paso prison that was ruled a homicide today, by the way. ICE murdered that detainee. They do. All of them are terrorists and murderers. ICE is a terrorist organization. Release the hostages. Here's a video that was just released of a peaceful anti-ICE protester in St. Paul Church, former combat veteran, just getting surrounded and taken. Oh, by the way, there was another individual who was arrested at St. Paul Church who the state put out AI edited videos of her arrest. Like, they made her look like she was crying with AI and then publicly posted that image, by the way. So they edit your photos of you and then post those.
Oh, you okay?
Fucking Christ.
Use the bat like that. You guys don't that line. Remember your oath. Remember what you're fighting right now. You are defending the Constitution. Remember your oath. Shame on you. Shame on every one of you. Are you bringing him to federal building, I assume?
Yeah, can we know where you're taking him?
Americans, do not be intimidated by these goons. Remember the Constitution. Stand for humanity. Do not be intimidated.
Where are you guys taking him?
Well, so Pork Chop, yeah, the night of the long knives is coming, but like, just because the brown shirts are gone, don't mean that the next people are going to be any better, because then we get the Gestapo. Yeah, they killed him while stopping him from killing himself. They claimed that a guy who had his hands tied behind his back hung himself and committed suicide, alright? That is what they claimed. It's insane. So what's happening to the disappeared people? Well, some of them go to the camps. Apparently, some of them are being released after being injured in the middle of the woods while it is freezing and they're gonna die. So, like, bad things. Again, this on top of, like, the entire Heritage Foundation shit that we just read, like, it's fucking terrifying. By the way, here is ICE essentially admitting to human trafficking. So, here's an ICE terrorist accidentally admitting on camera in a video filmed in Maine. An ICE terrorist openly admits their current direction is not arresting criminals. It's targeting people who are lawfully present with valid work permits, with pending immigration applications, who are actively following the legal process. He claims that ICE is doing this so people can get through their court cases faster. Obviously, like, makes it very difficult for their lawyers to get access. I did a whole video on why I think that they're doing illegal medical human experiments on ICE detainees in Hawaii with Neuralink, which you can check out on my YouTube as well. So after justifying detention, he asked the woman came here on a visa. She did, meaning she entered lawfully and has additional legal protections. She should not be in a detention facility in the first place. He reassures the man she'll have access to a bond, leaving out that the bond is not guaranteed, often taking weeks, and is frequently set so high that the families can't pay it. And then they get moved to a facility, and then they get moved to different facilities, and then you can't find them. Because that's what they do. They do a shell game. You get arrested in Florida. They put you in a facility in Florida. In 2 days, you get moved to Georgia. Then you get moved to Mississippi. Then you get moved to Florida again. Then you get moved to California. Then you get moved to Denver. And now your lawyer now has to track down where all of you, like, you were, all of the different places, how long they keep you in solitary. I did a whole thing on this where, like, the time spent in solitary confinement in the last year has been increased by 251% from 14 days being the average to, like, 30-something days on average, which, by the way, anything more than 15 is considered direct torture. But 7 Dems just voted to fund them more. Fuck, this is hell. Fuck the Democrats. Like, they don't work for you either. Remember, Tom Homan, the fucking ghoul, the golem in charge of ICE, was put in that position by Obama. This is why they're compared to slave catchers. That's what the slave catchers did. Yeah, this is also why I say they're closer to the brown shirts than the Gestapo, because the Gestapo comes next.
Like, she's legal. Like, she has a work permit. Yeah, but that doesn't make her legal. So anybody who has a pending application, they get a work permit, okay? Or if they're pending court proceedings. Because of that, so our direction right now, I'll just kind of explain this to you. Our direction right now is to take any of those kind of people into custody so they can get through their court cases faster. Once they get through their court cases faster, they'll decide whether they can stay or they can go. Outside of custody, those court cases take a very long time, okay? So they're just trying to rush those.
They literally pick people up at their court cases and then arrest them. Like, it's like, but where we are in the world can't really be described any better than this. The President of the United States posted this. So at what point are we going to realize the enemy is within? China and Russia are the boogeymen when the real threat is UN, NATO, and this religion. I put religion in quotes because it's not a religion, it's a cult. Yeah, I went there. This is what the president just posted. That NATO and the UN are the real threat, and China and Russia are not. This is where we are in America. Department of Homeland Security sounds like a Nazi organization. Groove Dragon, the Department of Homeland Security was explicitly created to be a Nazi organization. After 9/11, ICE and Homeland Security were built for this specific purpose. We would have done this 20 years ago if we could have. I've talked about one of the reasons why I think we couldn't do this 20 years ago is because it was harder to radicalize young white men to Nazism, because at the time we had Eminem. And Eminem was able to be like a douchebag, gave white boys like a way to be an asshole and be mean and be edgy without being a Nazi. And Eminem was also very like against authority. He kept getting into court cases. It made it more difficult for young men to be brought over to fascism because their idol that they looked up to was constantly in a fight with the government. And so that stayed that way. And then now we're doing it. But this was what it was built for. Like really mull on the words Homeland Security, emphasis on Homeland. Again, mull on the fact that the President of the United States is talking about how China and Russia are not the threat. It is the UN and fucking NATO. By the way, this is very funny to me. To their shock, Cubans in Florida are being deported in mass numbers. This one I don't mind. I will vote to get deported. Homelander Security, basically, yeah. Also, the Patriot Act was ready to go like 2 days after 9/11. Literally, like, Larry Ellison had a plan that he gave to the government after 9/11. We said no. Which, by the way, the plan that Larry Ellison gave to the government after 9/11 is what we're doing now. He then went to China and helped them build their fucking surveillance system and their great firewall. And that's now us. Oh, leopards eating good down in Florida. Yeah, that one I'm fine with. So, here's two things. First off, this is not advice, but I found this interesting. Do not take any of this as advice. I just like what this guy has to say.
What are we supposed to do if our country goes into full-blown civil war tomorrow? Like if 15...
Oh my goodness. I don't know what's up with my internet.
Steal. Find your enemies. Find your enemies.
Question
Try
for the
that
class.
again.
What are we supposed to do if our country goes into full-blown civil war tomorrow? Like if 15...
You steal. Find your enemy supply lines and take what you need. Burn anything that's left. If you can shoot, you go.
Again, not advocating for anything. I don't know why this is pausing so much. I don't even have that much up. It's really
Go to the
annoying.
front lines and you find friends. If you can fly drones, you do surveillance. If you have land, you grow food. Or allow people to grow food on your property. And while you're doing that, you go.
I like that last part. Grow food. Allow people to grow food on your property. Fly a drone for surveillance. Help out the people. I do not advocate for any violence. But also, yeah, read the fucking shock doctrine.
About your daily life like nothing's happening. You find your neighbors that support the regime, and then you make sure that they can't anymore. You poison the food. You burn down their homes. You make sure that nowhere is safe and they never...
Again, not advocating for any kind of violence, but I do advocate for extreme annoyance. Be a pest and be annoying. Do not burn things or shoot things. But be very, very annoying. Hell, if there's a HOA around you, use that. Use the HOA. I promise you, you can get a lot done with that.
Where it's coming from. You are not ready for conventional warfare, but hidden...
Whatever,
Run
that's
tactics
pausing.
also
That's
have
well
run
enough.
tactics.
Question.
So, I got a couple more things to show you. I like these thought experiments you do. I do too. Unfortunately, because of the new Australian laws, that might be a little bit more difficult for me to do. Okay, one funny thing here. let's take a look at the fact that the Freudian daddy reflex of fascist that has been recorded throughout history and is a prominent feature of history's most notoriously unfuckable losers.
I bet Al's already started drinking because Daddy's about to land and Daddy has needs. I'm going.
Like, they are... I'm still angry that as a fucking lesbian, I can't use the F slur against these people. Do not throw water balloons at ICE agents operating in the cold. Do not throw water balloons on the ground in front of facilities. Apparently that's terrorism now. Again, I've told you, do not fill water balloons with sand and engine oil and then throw them on car windows. Do not do that, please. For the love of God, do not do that. Spoken like a man who wears knee pads? Almost certainly. Oh, by the way, I wasn't going to talk about this. This I just found, but remember when we just talked about the Australian hate group and hate speech laws that make it very difficult for even me to say certain things? In my state, I live in South Australia, mind you. In my state, this is being reported right now. The Islamophobia Register reports that in Adelaide, 2 days ago, 2 hijabi women received death threats from a man who chased them back to their car, yelling, "You fucking Muslims, I'm going to fucking kill you." Quote, unquote. Islamophobia Register Australia received a report of a violent Islamophobic incident in Adelaide on the 21st of January in which 2 visibly Muslim women were allegedly threatened with death in a public place, and the incident has been reported to the police. You can do this kind of shit, but me showing... You know what? I'm going to show it anyway. I'm going to show you a video, which I'm pretty sure I can get in trouble for. But they can't get in trouble for this? Like, this is fine? The incident follows the receipt earlier yesterday of a deeply disturbing hate letter sent to the imam of the Lakemba Mosque in Sydney, which explicitly called for people to be beaten to death in the streets on Australia Day. The material has been referred to the relevant authorities. So they can do that kind of shit. That kind of shit, like, isn't being pushed down on the law. Like, no, it is the primary goal of the law is shutting people like me up. But, so what I'm hearing is that fascism requires patriarchy. I mean, kind of. They're both related in a way, but you can have fascism without patriarchy. But, what, on the other end, I can get in trouble for showing this video. So I need you to remember that these people are talking about how they want people beaten and killed in the streets. And me showing you this video of the Israeli politician Moshe Feiglin quoting Hitler, I can get in trouble for this. Again, let me make it real clear to anyone who's watching ASIO. I am doing a news report of which I am showing the words of somebody in a foreign country. I do not advocate for these words. I don't support these words.
אנחנו לא אורחים בארצנו. זאת הארץ שלנו כולה, ועכשיו מי שהיה לו, היינו צריכים להסתדר איתו איכשהו, כי גם הוא ישב פה. וצריך להיות הומני, והכל נכון, והכל טוב ויפה. הראה שהוא מייצג את האסלאמו-נאציזם העמוק ביותר. איך אמר היטלר?
I'm going to need to be explained to, like I'm 5, how you can have fascism without patriarchy. Well, you can have fascism with matriarchy. You can have fascism without, like, patriarchy is just men rule the world. Fascism is the state and the corporations have merged and rule everything. The state and the corporations don't necessarily need to be run by men. It could be run by women. Now, like, fascism is still bad. Oh, by the way, speaking of fascism, did you guys happen to see another thing that I could get in trouble for fucking showing you now, which is insane? Over the last couple days, there were these right-wing influencers, Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, Sneeko, Tristan Tate, Clavicular, Myron, and Justin Waller, went to a club that was playing Kanye West's HH song, the band song. And I just saw this and I just could not stop laughing. Mein Fuhrer, your biggest supporters are a biracial gay sex trafficker, a biracial former gay porn actor, a gay Mexican virgin, a Sudanese Muslim, probably also gay, and at least the looks maxer is straight and white, but he's also sterile. It's really fucking bad. Alright, one more thing. I have a question. We can watch this entire speech if you want to. I actually quite enjoyed it. Very rarely do I enjoy watching the speech of a politician, but Mark Carney's speech at Davos was fantastic. This is a segment of it that I think is particularly important we should listen to, but we can watch the whole thing. It's about 15 minutes. They were playing a song in their limo. When they got to the club, they got the DJ to play the song, and it is DEI. We have DEI Nazism, for real. Like, the Nazi party is DEI in this country. All right, let's listen to Mark Carney.
We knew the story of the international rules-based order was partially false, that the strongest would exempt themselves when convenient, that trade rules were enforced asymmetrically. And we knew that international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused or the victim. This fiction was useful. And American hegemony in particular helped provide public goods, open sea lanes, a stable financial system, collective security, and support for...
Mark Carney is a neoliberal banker. Yes, I know. He's not a good what his speech here is the point. Him himself doesn't matter. The speech is about American hegemony. His words matter.
...frameworks for resolving disputes. So we placed the sign in the window. We participated in the rituals. And we largely avoided calling out the gaps between rhetoric and reality. This bargain no longer works.
That's a big deal for them to say. Like, he did just say, yeah, no, we've been going with America's lies, like, we didn't question it, they were the boss, this is now over. That is a big deal to say. Mind you, I showed last week that the US is funding a separatist movement in Alberta. They're trying to manufacture a larger secessionist movement for Alberta for, independence, and then that independence becomes a US state. Like, we're trying to invade them right now. We're doing psyops and shit. I have that video. I'll show it again after we watch this.
Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Over the past 2 decades, a series of crises in finance, health, energy, and geopolitics have laid bare the risks of extreme global integration. But more recently, great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons. Tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. You cannot live within the lie of mutual benefit through integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination.
I think that that's fantastic. Now, again, we are talking about, like, Mark Carney. He is a neoliberal banker. You have to take his words with a grain of salt. It's not literally what he's saying that's important. It's the implications and how other people will go about acting according to this. I think you and Zora are using the anthropological definition of patriarchy, which sure I'll accept that. I think that's a fun discussion we can have on the Discord later in voice if you guys want. I'll probably hop in Discord after stream. Technically, I should be done right now, but I'm not, because I'm going to show you 2 more videos. We're going to watch the clip about the middle powers, then I want to show you the Alberta separatist movement. And yes, you're right, Sylvie, they have been trying to do that for years, but there's a much larger push now.
Argue the middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. But I'd also say that great powers...
That's true.
Great powers can afford for now to go it alone. They have the market size, the military capacity, and the leverage to dictate terms. Middle powers do not. But when we only negotiate bilaterally with a hegemon, we negotiate from weakness. We accept what's offered. We compete with each other to be the most accommodating. This is not sovereignty. It's the performance of sovereignty while accepting subordination. In a world of great power rivalry, the countries in between have a choice. Compete with each other for favor or to combine to create a third path with impact. We shouldn't allow the rise of hard power to blind us to the fact that the power of legitimacy, integrity, and rules will remain.
There is no rules, there is no legitimacy or integrity. It is by power now. This is what this speech means. The speech means the rules-based order is dead. It is now whether you have the power to control your country, your borders, and your sovereignty or not. That's it. Laws? What is he, a liberal? There are no laws. That's what I'm saying. Again, like, the fact that the fucking Prime Minister of Canada said, yeah, no, we've been listening to the US, we've been doing whatever they say, that is over now. That's a big deal from a massive fucking liberal. I couldn't hear this speech without thinking that Carney was approaching a Zhush moment. I'm too brain broken from being online too much, maybe? Probably, yeah. No, this is the panic of the neoliberals, because fascism is bad for business. And also, like, we're trying to fuck their country.
Paying people in Alberta to have a campaign to separate.
This is not conspiracy, nor is this exaggeration. I looked this up, and this is incredibly legit.
Why does this keep fucking freezing? Whatever. Okay, fuck TikTok.
And way more money is involved than you can imagine. That was my friend, the Native Calgarian podcast, Indigenous creator. Give them a follow. So we have actual proof from a separatist who met with the Americans in July. Though no money's changed hands here, there was discussions of a $500 million loan for separatists.
I don't know why TikTok's doing this. I'm sorry, guys. Look, this is what I want you to do. This is how you protect your community.
About face.
Ah, fuck, I forgot. I can't play that because it's going to have copyright music. But this is how you protect your community. Form an organization. Join the SRA, y'all. Where's my fucking SRA paper? The lists are active. Your neighbors will trade you in to save themselves. If you think you are safe, that comfort is a delusion. Join the SRA, a 501c4 nonprofit prioritizing self and community defense education as well as disaster relief. For $5 a month or $36 a year. If you have financial hardship, you can contact your chapter about waivers. Face them alone or stand together. Your loved ones need you. There is no second chances. Are you ready? I gave you the wrong link. Jesus. Like, again, do anything. Join any community. I highly beg for you to join the SRA. Also, I have questions. Do you know where your neighbors are right now? Do you know what an SPM 6 is? Again, NSPM 7 says everybody who is not an outright open Nazi is a terrorist. What do you think NSPM 6 is? Do you know where your neighbors are? Because we live in a country that is basically run by this. Stephen Miller right here. Hot take. If there were no avatars, the world would be in more peace. That's what they believe. Interested in learning safe and effective use of firearms without having to be around chuds and cops? They also help you with like hand-to-hand self-defense. It is about community building. It is a non-political organization. If you join the SRA, you're not talking politics there. You are community building. You are learning how to organize. You are learning how to defend yourself hand-to-hand with a firearm. You have the legal right. Go and get one. There is no Warren Bostick say. Yeah, that's the country we live in right now. I mean, please let this one work. Goddamn TikTok video, but it's The Onion. So I don't know. This is where we're at as a country.
Know how to grow food, suture wounds, and bury corpses by hand if they plan to opt out. And
I don't know why it's doing this. Oh my god, it hates it. It hates me now. The algorithm is so broken. You cannot do anything.
Are given complete
without
privacy
being
and
monitored.
complete privacy.
Anything. You can do nothing in this country really on this planet without being monitored anymore. Everything you do online can be used against you. Everything you say and do will be used against you in a court of not law. So organize, make friends,
and Barry
spend time outdoors, spend time with people you trust. You can learn how to disarm an assailant right here on YouTube. On my YouTube channel, I have a video on how to make a first aid kit, like a very, very basic first aid kit for protests, specifically for massive blood loss in case you get shot with a real bullet, like a, 5.56, 7.64. Also, mind you, it has been noted that ICE does use hollow point bullets on occasion, so be aware of that. I also have a video on how to prepare like a basic bug out bag. Again, if ICE is in your town and you are someone who is active in politics, you go to protest, you watch Twitch streamers or YouTubers, leave your fucking house that day and go spend some time in the woods. Go find a cave. They're coming for you too. Talk to your neighbors. Join my Discord, like the stream on YouTube, support independent media, and I will see you guys next time. I gotta end this one myself because Nick ain't here. Thank you to everybody on this space, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.